Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Hey, everybody. I want to welcome you to an incredible show today. I want to start out, for those of you that know me, you know Dr. Pat. But for those of you that don't, let me just say a word. I'm Dr. Pat Baccili. I'm the host of the Dr. Pat Show. In this capacity today, I have the honor of having a conversation with a gentleman that I've gotten to know who is doing all the things in the world of leadership that I studied about, but just couldn't get my act together to do anything much about it. And that's Singh. We're going to be talking about Singh leadership. We're going to be talking about Power Up Coach, but you're going to hear something extraordinary today. And when you look at the world we're in, what you're looking at is how all of us are adapting left and right. And what's the impact? Now, y'all have heard me do a bunch of shows on recruiting in the world of AI. But what Singh is doing this week, he's launching a comprehensive platform that he's been working on now, I'd say months, but years, that has brought him past the point of disappointment. That has taken him on a journey where he had to look inside himself, outside of himself, the situations around him, when failure looked like it was the only option. But there's an expression in almost every culture that I know of, and it's the rising up. What does it take to rise up? And when you are that person, when you have the vast knowledge, the creativity, what Singh has been able to develop and do, and be in the world of leadership at the highest level of organizations, you better be able to address what leadership really needs in the world today. So when we talk about conscious leadership today, purpose factor assessment, compass framework, we're also going to be talking about the challenges that businesses, organizations, and entrepreneurs face in the world today, and what is really at the core of how to come out in the world, despite all of that, and rise up. Absolutely rise up. Singh, so glad to see you today. This show today for me is about honoring you and honoring your work. And I want to tell you why personally, and then let's get at it. In the past 2 months, I have been faced with situations as CEO, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call me, that I never thought I'd face in the business world. Now, I don't know how it's going to turn out at the other end. And then in the state that I live in, the message comes in, we're all being reclassified as companies, and now we have to pay sales tax on digital advertising. So Linda said something interesting, and this is where I'm going to start it off. What in the world is God thinking about? What in the world is going on up in the universe? Because Pat, or Patty as she calls me, they must have the wrong girl. So let's talk about this, because I'm not alone. You weren't alone in your situation. The world is not alone. But I know one thing today you're going to help us with, and that is not giving up, right? Thank you for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me, Pat. It's a pleasure and honor both to get on a call with you. The two simple things I would start with. Everybody is breaking under overload, burnout, fractured trust, endless tech hype, AI, whatever it be. We don't need to get more tools. What we need is clarity, trust, and ability to be able to make decisions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're going to help us with that today. Here's what I didn't throw in the mix. I have had, and I'm okay to say it because I have a message around this for people that don't think they need to protect themselves right now. I have had COVID now for 4 weeks. And, in my situation, I waited 1 week too long to go get my vaccine. Just saying, I procrastinated, all the things you just said. And so there are lessons learned. And, there's so many things that we sit back. Now, what's the good side of that? It really gave me time to reflect. I mean, there's nothing better than to not be at full steam, where your mind is like, wow. But despite all of that, your motto on your new website, and I really want to tell everybody about this, singleadership.com. You're going to see this popping up over the next couple of days. We have a lot to talk about. Lead with presence, move with purpose, win with integrity.
Intention makes all the difference in the world. If you can just take a deep breath, and that's a phenomenal way to start for me. When we talk about people not having clarity, when we talk about people not having the ability to make decision, as humans, there are two basic things that we were gifted by this universe that either we just take it for granted or we don't give it the value it needs to be. And that is the only thing that delineates between a person alive and dead, except for being in coma, and that is your breath,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
The moment you can get into understanding and feeling the breath, and you put an intention to that breath, it changes everything that you as a human are. When we talk about consciousness, consciousness starts with realizing and feeling that breath. One deep inhale, hold, and exhale. There is nothing beyond that. Now, all the programs, all the frameworks, everything is now designed to help people go from being conscious in that one breath
Mm,
to the next breath, to the next meeting, to the next phone call,
yeah.
to the next day, to the next week.
Yeah.
But it all starts with that one moment.
I was really struck by something I reread on the website that we are launching and people are seeing throughout this episode today. And one of the things it says is the best leaders aren't the loudest, they are the clearest. And then you go on to say the calmest, the ones who can hold complexity while making people feel safe, seen, and mobilized. And see, that is one of the core essence of how you embark on this and approach with leaders. And, this is part of it. But you have a very radical integrated approach for this. There's nothing really you leave behind, whether it's your mentorship program, whether it's your cohort groups or your training, whether it's the tools you mentioned. And I want to stick with what you just said because a lot of tools in the world. And I learned a long time ago in my research, it isn't so much about the outcome, it's how you get there, how you hold yourself, how you respond. And I want to ask you this question. You have been through a lot with your own business as an entrepreneur. So you're not just talking with us like talk. You have been through it. You understand the power of how to rise up. What was that like for you?
Blissful in one word, and the end result is blissful. But what goes into it is years of practice, years of pouring out into people to train them. I started the coaching business only in 23, but the practices that I have had, I have been delivering on that since I was 14 years old, right? And without using the word, without using frameworks, for 25 years that I was in corporate America, I have built teams and poured into those team members day in and day out. There is one practice that at least 350 people that I have touched in 25 years, they all know, because I used to start every meeting with a small practice. And like I said, let's give to the listeners the first gift. And this exact practice has helped high school kids to get off digital playground. And the exercise is whenever you start your meeting, you start with 3 simple questions in 30 seconds. The first question: what is the individual and collective outcome from that conversation? Right? That gives you or sets the tone of goal and vision for that conversation. Second, if you were not available, who would be the best person to be able to be in this conversation? You prioritized resources who were right for that opportunity. Third, if you were not here, what else you could be doing that would contribute more to this organization? Not everybody needs to be in meeting all the time. What is the point of being in the meeting when you're not participating in the meeting?
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're not participating in the meeting, doesn't it raise the question? I want to stay with this because this is what we don't understand and we don't do. And we go through so many teachings, so many courses. We just like, oh, how do I know? Well, teach me how to speak. I'm a media coach. Teach me how to speak. And when I start my media coaching, some people are like, did I really hire you for you to help me what? Meditate or create an affirmation? And I said, of course you did. Of course, you hired me to do that because you want a different outcome than what you're getting now. But let's stay with this for a minute because it is a preparation for a meeting, but it's also a preparation for life, isn't it?
Yes, that's a big one. So what I started in boardrooms and meeting rooms and offices and workshops, now you bring that in your personal life. When you're having a conversation, and see, this is the fundamental thing. Like I said, there are two things we have lost as human. We have lost to appreciate presence of others, just like we have lost to appreciate presence of our breath. If you're having conversation and you're present there, and I have this, it is unbelievable how many times this same question I ask and people don't have an answer. When they say, "Oh, I was present," I said, "Okay, this morning, did you tell your spouse I love you before you left?" "Oh, yeah, I did." "Oh, did you? What was she wearing? What was her expression when you said that?" "You're walking out the door, honey, I love you." That is not what you have to, that's autopilot. Get out of it. That is not being present, right? And the whole idea behind the program is that moment in time when you become present. Mindful does not mean that you have to stop your mind. Your mind is already full. Think about this. All your senses, your brain is already firing neurons, collecting information, synthesizing them, and organizing them in the right way. But we are running on autopilot and not tapping into that intelligence. So when we say mindful, means your mind is already full. Can you use that information? Can you use that intelligence? And when you're not using it, think about the very common example, like two very common example I give is you drive from point A to point B. Sometimes you just think, how the hell did I get here?
Yeah. Yes, you
Right?
do.
Right?
Yep.
Sometimes you sit and you're having food, your lunch or your dinner or your supper, something. You don't even realize when the food was gone. So
Yeah, it is. It's shocking, but it's
that
the
is what we are
reality,
doing.
though.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Pat, unfortunately, that is what we are doing in boardrooms. That is what we are doing in our bedrooms. Think about that word, right? That is exactly what we are doing. The meeting comes and goes. You just realize when you have to get to the elevator to go down and out of the building. In the bedroom, night comes and goes. The only thing you remember is sun is shining and you have to run somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's not
No.
life.
No.
So going back to your first question, what Linda asked, what is happening in the universe?
You got to know, Linda. Linda's a triple Virgo. So she's like, we're not doing anything wrong here. Is this like a cosmic joke, dude? Right?
So we cannot challenge what is going in the universe because we are doing that to ourselves, not the universe.
Right? But I love it from Linda's perspective because here's what I love about this optimism. See, you don't usually get a comment like that. Usually, I mean, I have been in so many different situations in my life, but somehow asking a question like that really means that you believe that the chart, the course, the compass approach that you're on, it has always felt so right for you, and it still feels right. But the question mark is, did the universe tell you it would be easy? Did the universe tell you you would not have challenges? Did the universe tell you you would not be tested along the way? No. And here's what I said to Linda, and I'd love for you to comment on this. I said, let's think about really the cool and good things that have shown up. Yeah, we could dwell on a situational thing, but let's look at a few things. Trademarks approved out of nowhere. Beautifully done. Taking back a trademark that somebody tried to take, right? Interest in what we're doing. Our technology is a half a step away from being launched. We're creating a founders campaign for people to participate. Our memberships are being done. We've already got hits on our new podcast channel, which we're not even promoting. We have a great array of people, hosts that are groundbreaking, breaking through. Our health is coming back. We're feeling vibrant. We have a roof over our head. And for somebody like me that was homeless, having a roof over your head, just saying, it's a thing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I get visited by ravens every day, right out here. Now, people call me Pollyanna Patty, but over these last 4 to 6 weeks, I've really had to do exactly what you started to do. I had to breathe. And I don't mean just not that. So let's talk about that part of breathing and the consciousness connection that you can make with the universe that will help you answer the questions, right?
Every single time, yes. So life is not full of accidents or incidents. It's a whole different way of looking at life. When you start living in the moment, living in the present, living with that consciousness, life just becomes an infinite present moment that never ends till you're breathing. When that happens, every action and activity that you get involved in is an experiment which just has a result. If you like that result, you do more of it. If you don't like the result, you change the experiment you did. The problem with humanity, one was breathing. The second problem with humanity is even before we have done something, we make an expectation of a result. And even worse is what we do is we get emotionally attached to that result. We have not even done the activity. So when the point of activity experiment happens, we are not present. And when the result is not what we wanted, expected, desired, we create this big, I say, pillar or castle in our head, and we start living in that castle. The problem is, if you live too long in that castle, you have to pay the rent to a psychiatrist to get out of that castle.
It's true. Oh boy, I know it. My mom couldn't take it. You know, my mom had a gigantic vision. My birth mom, she did. She was feisty. You know, I looked at her death certificate not too long ago because I had to get a passport. And so I had to pull out the death certificate. And I knew my mom a bit because I got familiar with the store that she owned. Because I got there as a kid, I would sit there. But on her certificate, her death certificate, they listed her as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. And yet, when the world was too tough for her, she took her own life. Now, she didn't have the tools, she didn't have the support. There were so many things. But my short period of time around this woman, she taught me love. And she also taught me, I had two moms. Both of them taught me love. One of them taught me discipline, my stepmom. But here's what I want to talk to you about. With all of our life experiences, I think I've come to believe they don't happen randomly. This is just my latest thought, by the way. They don't. There's not a random. There are things that happen in our lives to prepare. Sometimes I see them, and sometimes I don't. But one of the things you talk about is this. In your conscious leadership program, you give the leaders a compass that they need to innovate, inspire, and build cultures of resilience, right? Let's talk about that. And so, one of the things that is said is we're not just keeping up with change, we're creating a leadership model built for it. And people are going to hear more about this when they read about it. But also, what you're also doing, and this is the misconception between you, me, and the rest of the world because of what we do. They think we're not tech savvy. They think we're not like plugged into AI. I don't know what they think I'm doing, maybe playing too much ping pong, but we are. This technology that we're sitting on here, the idea came out in 2009. Oliver from Germany built it, and people said it couldn't be done. You have built a leadership program that addresses the continuous, almost instantaneously change that AI is driving in the workforce. And we're going to spend more time talking about this, but I want to ask you about this because in 2019, we created AI for the Soul, and I made the mistake of not trademarking it, but I did focus groups, and this guy picked up the idea and developed the app because sometimes I'm a little slow on the action part. But that doesn't mean that wasn't a great idea. AI for the Soul in 2019.
Wow.
But let's talk about this. You've developed conscious leadership to address whatever situation, including technology. How significant was that for you to do?
Oh my God, it is half of my life, I would say. So one half of my life was dedicated to mindful practice that I've been doing since 14. 25 years in corporate America, I have transformed companies with systems, technology, everything. I mean, we talk about AI. The Inner Compass Journey program that I have, let's just dissect that for a minute. The reason I came with a compass is because people don't need more apps. They need a compass, a direction, because that's what people are craving for. 90% of the people that I have a conversation, whether it is for my technology analytics business or for mindful leadership business, I have started asking the problem behind the problem in my first conversation. Because the problem that people introduce themselves to you with is at a very surface level, and transformation does not happen at a surface level. Right? I cannot sleep. Well, that is not a problem. That is manifesting as loss in sleep. But what is the problem? I'm always anxious. Well, that is not the problem. That is manifesting as that. The idea of Compass is to give people a full circle solution, and you can start anywhere in that paradigm that you want. There are three non-negotiables. And I always start with that. These programs are three non-negotiables. There is nothing except the only instant gratification you get in this program is that you learn how to feel your breath. That is the only instant gratification you get. And then we stitch that through the different tools and companions that we have built. And guess what? All these tools and companions are built on AI. Sing cannot be in your bedroom, Sing cannot be in your boardroom, but guess what? The AI companion that we have is sitting on your phone 24/7, and we have made it conversational. I had 2 coaching calls just this today, hour and a half, 2 coaching call. In one coaching call, I was talking to a director of finance and accounting in a large corporation. And using the AI tools, these companions, I showed her how she can take control of a calendar and task prioritization. Think about it.
Wow.
Right? An AI tool, I showed her from your calendar, every email from your inbox, every meeting from your calendar, how you can, whether it is Google or Microsoft, how you can add that to a task list and use this AI companion on a going forward basis. What this AI companion does for you is it creates the most productive roadmap on a daily basis.
Mm.
Think about that for a second. That
I'm thinking
includes,
about it for longer than a second because look at where I mean, what were you like in my office this morning? Because this is a missing link. We're trying to solve the problem at the level the problem was created. And Einstein even said, you cannot do that.
oh, so and again, my conversation with that lady was very simple today. I said, okay, what is one thing that is stopping you from doing these three things we have been discussing for last 4 weeks? Saying I don't have time. I said, okay, then if you trust me, open your calendar. Let me see where you're wasting your time.
Yeah, boy, I'm with you.
Right. The second coaching conversation I had was a very good friend of mine. He took my entire 12 weeks Compass journey, and he's in seventh, eighth week where we're talking about flywheel strategy. So for flywheel strategy is real uh, your strategy for your individual self and your business or whatever role you play, how to get that to exponentially next level. That's the transformational level conversation. He mentioned about a process that is frustrating. There's a process in his team where he manages a large product team in an insurance company, and things are getting bogged down in approval between multiple teams, right? And he's frustrated about that. Again, we have AI companion for you to have a chat. That's why anybody who joins the program, they get access to 15 AI companion.
Wow.
And I said, Sue, why don't you use the companion? Oh, I completely forgot about how to use it. I'm like, for God's sake, can you guys stop using Chat GPT as Google search engine?
Oh my God, right? Oh my gosh. You and I could do a fabulous course, right? He said, she said on Chat GPT because you're right about it. You know, I get some things back from the team, right? From people. And I'm like, you didn't write that, neither did a smart Chat GPT. They wouldn't write that. You're not asking the right questions. So continue because look, what you put in is what you get out. If you ask a
Yeah.
question, what color is the sky? You're going to get like blue. But if you ask, how are the colors in the sky made?
Made. Yeah.
Now you're going to get an answer, right? Let's do
Exactly.
this. Let's take a short break.
Take a
This
break.
is so good. But I want to make sure people know how to find out more about you, but also how to find out about what we're talking about. For those of you out there, Singh has got a fabulous show. When we come back, we're going to give you lots of information on that. Singleadership.com is where you're going to be able to go to see everything you're seeing. We're giving you sneak peeks in this show. You're seeing pieces of the new framework. We're going to take a very short break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how this innovation helps. Now, why do we know it helps here? Let me leave you with this. The organizations that adopt or are adopting Singh's frameworks, they're already report. And I'm telling you, these margins, I don't care what company you hire, these margins don't just happen. The frameworks are already reporting 40% faster decision making. Hello, 25% higher productivity. And are you ready for this one? Because we are going to dig into this when we get back. 30% less workplace stress. Why? Because consciousness plus technology, that is a match made in heaven. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. I am doing a show to honor the work of someone that I got to know more up close and personal than I could have even imagined that gift would be. It's an enormous gift. And for me to be able to work with Singh and for the work that we are doing together, for him to be able to remind me of the truth of who I am, or maybe who I meant to be, or what I need to know, or any of the above. It has been one of the greatest gifts, but it's what Singh has created to address the chaos, the dilemma, the overburdening, the burnout, the lack of communication, all of the above, just abuse in some organizations. But what we're talking about today is not just a new way. It's not. It's not a new way. What we're talking about is a complete quantum shift in what is going to be possible for your organization when you look at what Singh can bring to you. Singh, before we keep going, I gave out the website, but you mentioned the app. So, I mean, if we don't mention how people can find out more about the app, so help us out here.
We have created 15 custom, we call it companions, not app.
Yeah, my bad. Companions is much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little stuck in some old habits. I'm working on it.
The reason we delineate between the word app and companion, app is something that just gives you direction, data, not direction, just data. It just gives you more application. It gives you more to-do list. It just gives you more X, Y, and Z. We call it companion because the moment you join the program in our community, you get access to all 15 of them. 3 of them are designed for mindful practices. And over 4 decades of practicing, we have identified 260 different moments in life that a human can have where they need mindful anchor.
Wow.
So we have
How many? Say that again. How many?
260.
Wow. And I bet that's going to grow, right?
Well, that's the extent of what we have learned in 4 decades. And each of those are designed in that you open the companion and just say, hey, I'm feeling bored. It helps you expand your emotional vocabulary and get you to exact which one of those 260 practice you should be doing in this moment in time. The second one in that is to create daily practice for you so you can use a companion to practice daily. And the third one is a little higher. As you mature in the program, you get more mindful practices. It becomes your companion to do that. The second set then we have is around leadership practices. One of them I was actually sharing with the story about that one with Sue. We call it Knox, 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 like Fort Knox. There is not a single strategic question that leader can ask and it does not give you the right answer. The only feedback I have gotten so far is saying it talks like you. I don't know whether that is good or bad.
I think better sounds like talks like you than me. I got that New York thing. But see, I love that. It talks like you for a reason, those thing, right? Because what you did is you became its companion as well.
Exactly.
And most people approach AI as a one-way street.
Mhm.
It's not.
I always talk to jokingly to people when you use AI, how many times in your response you say awesome and thank you to AI. People don't understand, but using those words in your conversation, it actually makes AI that much more conversational with you. The third one is what we call strategic KPI alignment. No matter which business you run, no matter what work you're doing, you just write a couple of keywords about your company or the work you're doing or the new project. It will give you a list of 30 KPIs. And then it tells you which of those KPIs are leading and lagging, which one is for growth, which one is for efficiency, which one is for compliance, how to calculate those KPI, how to get to it, right? And if you have those KPI, how to display that on your dashboard. And if you have that KPI, what else you can achieve from there. So it's not just leadership in action, right? I'm a big data guy. You mentioned before we went on break, the very first time I started the whole leadership program, I designed a dashboard that I should be able to calculate and measure, right? When we measure productivity, when we measure uh, time to make decision, right? It is not a self-reported matrix. It's actually scientifically designed. When you join the program, the activity that you do, we do a time study with you. And you continue to do minor time study every day. And it shows you how your reaction time has increased, but your response time has increased. That's a critical factor. We are always in reactionary world, but we need to stop that. We need to get more pause into reaction, and we need to get more smart about response.
Yeah.
Then we have another companion that is based on my book, Circle Up, which is the 7 relationship every individual needs to have in their personal and professional life,
Yeah.
right?
Talk about
Clarity
that more.
partner.
I want people to hear
Sure.
a bit more about the book because it is very cool. But let's just talk about that. And thank you. Thank you for really saying this is not just about the business. I mean, come on. We're people, we're human beings, right?
Absolutely. I mean, all that I preach is let's bring humanity
Yeah.
back in our conversation, back in the decision making. The 7 relation is COMPASS, COMPASS, right? I always use acronyms for my frameworks that actually make sense.
Yeah.
So so Circle Up is a compass framework, which is clarity partners, people who help you come out of your echo chamber. Opportunity advocates, people who talk about you being the right person to do the work when you are not in the room. Mentors, right? And people say, oh, why do I need mentor and coach? And I say, okay,
Oh.
growing up in your life, whenever you played the best sport, didn't you have a coach? And if you did not have that coach, where would you be? Now that you are making millions of dollars of decision day in and day out, why do you think you are better than any other person? Why Pat, today I have 3 mentors.
I'm with you. I have 5 coaches and I consider you one of them.
I've
Um, yeah, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. When I mention your name in front of Linda, she already knows. It's a conversation. It's something so very important to me. But we sometimes do not understand that we
right.
don't always have to try to do it alone, right?
No, we don't. And that is the biggest mistake we do. See, we have what I've done with this 7 roles. So let me just get there.
Yes,
So clarity part,
please.
the advocates, mentors, pillars, people who actually become your backbone, accountability allies. 90% leaders don't have accountability allies in their life. that leads to delays in decision making, because it is either creating procrastination, right? Or I call it funny joke that best time for you to make a decision is when you're late.
Okay, now we got to say more about that because I love that. I love that. Go
Because
ahead. Tell me about that
the
because,
best time to make decision is when you are late, because you have already made a mistake of not making decision,
yes, that's right. Yep. Yep.
right? And time is the best mentor and the coach, but it is the costliest mentor and coach.
Yeah, it is.
So if you did not respect time and make decisions in time, it clearly says you lack accountability allies in your life. And then you have soulful connections and strength amplifiers. So in the book, what I've done is I've created a framework for this. Each one of those tells you what is the role they play in your life and what is the psychological value when they are in your life. What are key traits of these people in your life, right? What do you get and what do you lose if they're not in your life? Then I created the companion to go with it, because Singh is not going to be in your boardroom and your bedroom, but this companion, you can always have conversation. It goes all the way to help you find people on LinkedIn who can play that role in your life. And then it helps you craft text messages to invite them. It helps you craft emails to create accountability in that relationship. And people talk about, what do you mean by accountability in relationship? And I say, okay, I would pray that one of the role I talk about soulful connection in your personal life is your spouse
Yeah.
or your children or your parents, right? Is there a formally defined role for them to say, Singh, you're not doing what you stand for?
I can
Or
give you
are they
my
just,
answer. I can tell you my answer right now. Most people don't even know that that's a thing, right? And so when you have people in your life, really, I want you to talk to this too, because what you're talking about in the companion and how this is going to help more than just the task management is when you don't have that person or you don't understand their role or there's some confusion, it's going to be extremely difficult for you, me, or anyone to literally get exactly what you're talking about in the book.
so again, it goes back to what I said earlier. We have to pause, take a deep breath, and that is the whole idea behind purpose factor assessment, right? But what is the purpose in your life? And the way we define purpose is, what is the best of what you have to give others? And when you use your purpose to live, what is the best you have to give others, you get fulfillment in 3 Gs: grace, gratitude, and growth. Grace, you see others successful because you help them. You get gratitude, people thank you. And believe it or not, you get financial growth. Because success, smile, and anger, all three are contagious.
Yeah. See, that's what I love about this. And let's take a minute. Where can we get the book? That's the first thing we need to tell people.
So on Amazon, you can go to Amazon and you can get Circle Up and Ascendancy Action. There are two books. Ascendancy Awakened, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Again, let me talk about Ascendancy Awakened, why I
Yeah.
published that book.
Please.
When I published that book, I had at least 3 publishing companies that said I'm overdoing it.
What do they mean
Because
by overdoing it? Give
so
me, I can hear them saying it actually, but
so every single framework, again, I did Compass. I had to release Compass separately because Compass I did not include in Ascendancy Action. Ascendancy Action System has my entire course published, right? So it has
yeah.
got your progress framework. It has got your peptide framework. It has got your flywheel strategy, everything. And the reason what I told publishers is, if people would succeed and would have transformed just by reading the book, self-help and leadership motivation would not be $1 billion industry today. But I don't know how many people are coming to my website, how many people are coming to my podcast. I want to release this book, so it's out there. Please feel free to read. And again, you go online and there's no charge for Kindle. I don't charge a penny for Kindle.
No, there's no charge. It's right there on Amazon, right there in Kindle. So really, let's just talk about this. So for those of you, no charge, circle up, build a life, changing inner circle, accelerate your purpose, power, and peace, right there, saying, put it out there, no charge for Kindle. So here's the question. Singh's going to answer this. I know this is coming up next. What is stopping you? What is stopping you? What is holding you back? What is going on? It's free. So it's not the money. But what's going on? Do you think it's not for you? Do you think it's going to be too hard? What are you thinking? So let's talk about that, because you and I are here because we've had opportunities and things put in front of us that look like giant stop signs. But what you also cover, especially in this book and beyond, is you help us understand more about ourselves.
And I keep going back to that. That's a good question, Pat, right? And I have spent hours thinking about that, why people don't even download a free book and get fixed. Because people are running behind empty data points and empty momentum when what they really need is alignment.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, let's talk
Right?
about that. I know the time we have left. I want to talk about alignment. It is a core. It's a core essence of what you do and what you teach. And yet you do it quite differently. And you do it really with a 360-degree and an esoteric framework. But from where you sit, I would love to ask you this question. How important is alignment?
Alignment is the basis of feeling your breath. So alignment is as critical in your life as taking breath. You have alignment in 3 different layers in your life. The first alignment is your own conscious alignment with your breath. Can you pace your breath in the right way so that you can activate your prefrontal cortex instead of running on amygdala all the time? The problem with running with amygdala is, one, you're not present. Second, brain is thinking that this is fight and flight mode, so it is restricting your rest of the organs to use any resources. That turns into fatigue. That turns into a lot of different, manifests into a lot of different physical issues because your organs are not getting the resources that they need. So that's the first level of alignment, is your alignment of yourself, your breath, get prefrontal cortex, release everything from your amygdala so your body can get the nutrients it needs. The second alignment is alignment with your space. Wherever you sit, wherever you stand, wherever you sleep, and you become motionless in one fraction breathe and feel comfortable and feel cozy and feel allowed in that place. And the third alignment is alignment with your purpose, because purpose is your permission. Your purpose is your permission to run this world. And I literally mean that word, run this world. Once you understand your purpose, I was talking to a CEO and I said, hey, I think you should take this purpose assessment. It does this, and this. And he said, oh, I know everything I need to know about me. Right? And my immediate question was, okay, why do you have so much back pain if you know everything about yourself?
Mm.
If you knew everything about yourself, you would be in blissful state all the time because you know
Hmm.
what is wrong with you. You know what is right with you. If you knew everything about you and you could fix everything by yourself, you should already be fixed.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, back pain is a great indicator. I mean, I hardly bump into anyone, especially in the sport I play, that's just not hunching over or holding their back. Now, of course, I wouldn't say something like that because, they're not in front of me. But that indicator is just one thing. There are other signs, there are other indicators that point out to no, we don't know ourselves.
Migraine is a very common one.
Whoa, yeah, that one. Ooh,
Migraine is
that's
a very
a
common one. Um, Ear infection is another big one.
mm,
Uh, Ear throat infection is another big one that you're not aligned with yourself. Believe it or not, knee problems is a very big indicator that you're not grounded. Like I said, the second alignment is with your space. Can you, in a breath, completely lose everything, become blissful in that? So this is, I know we are coming to an end. I learned from one of my gurus 5 simple rules that, and I learned from Sadhguru in engineering programs. I give all credits to him. But what he teaches in that is transformational. That was my second transformation. My first transformation was when I was 14, and I got to stay with Lama in Tibet for 3 months. And the 5 things that he says is, all rules are my rules. That's the first one. The second one is, I am responsible for everything. The third one says, this moment is the way it is. It is not going to be any other way. The fourth one is, I am neither this body nor this mind. And the fifth one is, I am mother to all.
mm.
And a lot of my frameworks came together as glue to become the compass when I brought those ancient knowledge with inner engineering footprint.
Here's what I love about this, and we'll probably have to do a part two because we often forget we are given these gifts as spiritual beings, as human beings. We're given these gifts before technology. We have the history, the DNA, the cosmic connections, energies, all of this. We have this inside of us. And what I see you doing, especially because of what you've created by including them, is it's a beautiful way to get back to self, but not just self alone, not the ego self, but self to make this a better place, self to really be you, whatever that journey is. Thank you for today. I would love to hear your personal message. I really appreciate what you're doing. And folks, you're going to hear a lot more. We've got lots planned, including making sure Sierra's going to make sure that Circle Up, the link for Kindle, not only goes out in our newsletters, but we're going to feature it right smack in the middle of our new website designs. All you have to do is click it. Sing, what's your personal message? Thank you so much for today. What would you like to leave us all with?
Purpose is your permission, but you have to get alignment with your breath before you can find your purpose. And purpose is there in 25 minutes assessment. But the question is, are you ready to feel your breath?
Mm.
Because the first expression of feeling your breath is you will hear how loud your brain actually is if you can actually tap into it. But that's the
Mm.
intelligence. So let's talk about using intelligence, not only artificial, but the actual that is being synthesized in your brain.
Because we have been given it for a reason. Singh, thank you so much. For those of you out there, please take a look at singleadership.com. We have many other items, domains you'll be hearing about in the future. The companion, is it available for people now?
Companion is available right now for people who join the program.
Okay.
So anyone who joins any program, they get the companion.
Any
The lowest,
program on your website. And
right?
there's something here for everybody, folks. I'm not kidding.
Yes.
Singh,
So
thank you
we give
so
companion to
much.
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for
It's
having me, Pat. It's always fun to have a chat with you. It's always refreshing. You always have a one or two different pieces that we can deep dive into, and say hi to Linda when she's back.
Yes, I will. And here's what I want to say for all of you. In my life, I have needed help, and I haven't even known that I've needed help. And somehow, this universe that Linda's questioning at the moment, which is good, triple Virgos do great jobs at that. What I now know is that universe, whatever you call it, whatever you believe in, give it your own name. It's orchestrating for our good, for my good. But I cannot be a passive player in the game. That's what Singh just went through. And what I love about this is when I took a framework and looked back in my life recently, kind of feverish and whatever you want to call it, what I realized every point in time where I felt like there was going to be an ending that I didn't want, someone showed up in my life to give me hope, to give me strength, to give me mentorship, and to believe in me when I couldn't believe in myself. And that is what you, Sir Singh, are doing for me. And I cannot thank you enough.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you all for tuning us in. Sierra, thank you for hitting all the right buttons. And as I said before, this is just a beginning. You're going to hear lots more, but this is your opportunity to transform in ways that are going to be so unbelievably amazing for you. We'll see you next time.